Welcome to Tractor Monkey's workshop. I thought today I'd give a shop tour. I like watching videos of other people's shops, see what they got. So if anybody enjoys this, leave a comment. I'm going to start out with this rigid sander here. It's a reciprocating drum. Got different drum sizes you can put on there. It's also got a belt sander you can put on there. I built this cart just for it. Got some storage under here. Over here we've got a Jet 3 horsepower 10-inch table saw. Now for you two guys, if I insult your intelligence, I don't mean to. If I explain something that you already knew, I'm just going to assume that there might be some people that are just starting out. Maybe they don't have any stationary power tools and don't know the terminology. Anyway, this is a 10-inch model, 3 horsepower, 10-inch. Because that's the size blade, 10-inch blade. I built this paddle here for it. You got the on-off switch here, well, the on switch, and the default is the small red switch there. I built this so if you're over here and you get into a situation you want to hurry up and cut the table saw off, you can reach over here. You don't have to hunt for the switch. You might hit the wrong switch. You don't have to hunt. You can hit it with your knee, anything. You just hit that and it hits the stop switch. It's a 220 volt motor. And this is a dust collector, a 110 volt dust collector, because I've only have one 220 line, so it's too much of a load to use the dust collector and the table saw at the same time on the 220. So I've got this dust collector is a 110, and that dust collector over there is wired for 220. So if I'm running the bandsaw or the drill press or whatever like that, those are both 110 motors. Then I can use the 220 dust collector all at the same time. All I gotta do is swap plugs around. Walk over here. You can see the dust collection hose coming over to that dust collector. Now this dust collector here, I can run dust collection for the drill press, the bandsaw, and this router table. And got a series of gates here. That's an open gate there, so you keep that closed. You can hook another item to it. You open this gate, and open this gate, and open this gate, and the bandsaw, it's got 2 ports here for dust collection. If I want to extend it over here, then I leave that gate open, close this gate, come over here, open this gate, plug this hose in over here, and now I've got dust collection for the router table. Also, if I'm running the drill press, I can just close this gate, take this hose off here. I can mount it with a zip tie or something like that, or when I'm done I can just use it to vacuum the table. That comes in handy. Of course, up here we got the various accessories for the table saw, so forth. Bench grinder, variable speed. This is a Craftsman 15-inch drill press, and it can be kind of confusing how they measure these. This is a 15-inch, but in reality what they mean is you can drill something that's say 15 inches in diameter, like a circle, and you can put it halfway in. So really, you know, why they don't call it say an 8-inch or a 7.5-inch. They call it a 15-inch because that's the diameter of an item you could get in there. And yet, when it comes to bandsaws, this is a 14-inch, and it really means 14-inch from the back of the bandsaw to the blade. Actually, in reality it's only 13 and say 3/4, but they call it a 14-inch. So that's kind of confusing. You would think they would, you know, use the same logic for both, but they don't. And of course over here we got a jigsaw, and it's a 20-inch, so that's what you can get in there, a 20-inch deep item. I made this table. This is a woodworking style table. They sell them. You can buy them. I built this one myself. Bought the track and hold downs. And this is a piece of walnut for a guide. That's a lot better than trying to do something freehand. Freehand can be dangerous. So I can say if I want to drill a hole in this piece here, I just find out where I want to drill it at, lock my backstop here, bring the hole down there, and now you can drill without it catching and spinning around. And it's really dangerous if you're drilling metal freehand. Don't never do that without something holding it down, because if it catches, it could come around and hurt you. This is not the original switch. The original switch died. The original switch had a little safety key, a little plastic piece you could put in, and if you took it out you couldn't turn it on. It didn't last long. I didn't feel like replacing it. This is just a standard light switch from the hardware store. Works great, perfect. That thing will probably outlast the drill press itself. This one here's got a laser guide. It's already broke. It didn't last long either. It's really kind of useless. It's a pain to set up, because you've got to go through an alignment procedure to even get it to where it's accurate. And if you use this method, you don't need a laser for a guide. You put your drill in there, set it down to where you want it, lock it down, and then you can, if you put a side stop over here, you could repeat that same hole every time, no problem. This is a a Craftsman 14-inch bandsaw. As far as I know, they don't sell it anymore. This is I can't say for positive this was made by Recon, or if that's how you pronounce it, R-I-K-O-N, but it's identical in almost every way. The Recon's got a just slightly different feature that this one doesn't have, which I don't remember what it is at the moment, but I mean, it's identical. So sure looks like they built it. You got storage in here for some extra blades and the fence for the table. I built this sled here for cutting small pieces of wood to make pins, to turn pins, and that's what I use. Works pretty good, keeps everything at a good 90 degrees. This is a Delta jigsaw, nothing special. My air compressor, nothing special about that. A little drill press that I bought way back. Don't use it much for anything. This is a bench dog router table. Got a Bosch router. Back here we've got a jet mortiser. For those of you that don't know what a mortiser is, it's basically a drill press that will make square holes. And if you don't understand that, here's a bit. So what you have here, if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you've got a drill, and on the outside you've got a chisel. So when you're drilling, and then you bring it kind of up and down motion, and then it chisels the edges of the round hole and makes it square basically. And we use that for mortising, making different sorts of joints. This is my Hitachi 10-inch sliding saw. I built a zero tolerance insert for it. That zero tolerance slot will give you less tear out when you're sawing wood. Same way with the table saw. You've got the standard insert that comes with the table saw. It's a wide opening to fit various kinds of blades and so forth. But if you want less tear out, you buy one of these inserts like this, and you basically saw into it. You know, your first cut is actually sawing through it, and then that gives you the exact width of the blade. And then that one there is the same thing, only for dado set. Okay, over here we've got my crappy looking homemade bench. And the traditional woodworking bench is completely different. But you know, you may have seen them, long, skinny, beautiful wooden tops with a tray on it, and a wooden vise on one end, and little square holes along there for your bench dogs, they call them, little pegs that go in the slot there, and you know, old school, you've got a board and a hand planer, and you butt the board against one of the pegs, and then you use your vise to tighten it up, and then you sit there for the next 3 days planing wood. I'm no good at that. I suck at that. So what I do is I decided that I wasn't going to go that route. I wanted a table that was symmetrical instead of, you know, just square, instead of rectangular. It fit in here better. I just went with particle board. This is one sheet, a 4x8 particle board that I cut in half, double layered it, and I left 2 inches of overhang all the way around. And when I want to hold something down, I just clamp it down, and I can clamp it any kind of way that you can dream of. I can go on the edge, I can go straight, I can overhang, you name it, and you can clamp it down using that method. When it wears out, all you got to do is pull up some screws and swap, put a new top on it. As you can see, it's got a lot of wear, and but I'm not ready to put a new top on it. What helps is to keep the top kind of moisture resistant, not proof at all. But what I do is I put some of this Watco finishing oil, clear, and I just slop it on, wipe it down, and it dries, and it goes down into the pores and helps a lot. Yeah, and it looks homemade, don't it? Anyways, I made a drawer. Go underneath is all storage. That's where I keep all my tools that are in cases and boxes and so forth. Here's my my air hose. An air conditioner that is pretty much worthless unless you're standing right in front of it. But when it gets really hot in here, I can sit in this chair if I'm working on something, sit in front of the air. It helps. Of course, if you're on the other side of the room, it ain't gonna do squat. Toolbox, bunch of scrap wood. I built this roll-around cart, put edges on it to keep stuff from rolling off. I just made it out of scrap, plywood and so forth. Made the drawers. Most of this is accessories that go with the lathe. Got some storage down here. This is my rack for the clamp rack. This is a jet lathe, 12-inch by 36. This number on it's 12 by 36. You can put a piece 36 inches long, or 12 inches in diameter. This is the same logic as the drill press. So they call it a 12, which means you can get a 12-inch diameter, but really you only got 6 inches here to work with. Variable speed. I went ahead and wrote on there what the different speed settings are, so I wouldn't have to look them up. This is a Jet 8-inch jointer. This one here's got a helical head instead of knives, which is nice because you don't have to worry about setting knives when they wear out. And when one of these heads here, the cutting surface, wears out, you've got 3 more. You just unscrew it, rotate, unscrew, rotate, and then you've got a whole new set of cutting edge. And then when you've used all the sides up, you buy and replace them. For those of you that don't understand what a jointer is for, see if I can explain it here. Let's say you've got this piece of wood here, and you've cut it to size on the table saw, for example, and now you want to get the piece where it's perfectly square. So this piece may be wider on the right edge than it is on the left edge, so you don't have a square piece of wood. So what you do is you come to the joiner, you run one side over it until it's completely flat. Okay, now you've got to do the top side. Well, if you turn the top side over, then yeah, you can flatten that side, but you haven't done anything with the fact that it's not going to be the same thickness throughout. This may still be taller on the right side than the left side. It's just both sides are flat. So what you do, you flatten one side, and then you come over to this tool, which is a planer. And anyways, that so you've already got the bottoms flat, so now you run it through here and flatten the top. And they make machines that will do both, but usually the tables are shorter. You don't have as long a table on it. So I guess that about covers it. If you see anything that you'd like to make another video about, leave a comment. Thanks for watching.